Hi there, welcome to Kneppyinvests and welcome to the stock of the day. Metcash, ticker code MTS. This is a company that owns or runs IGA, Mitre 10, Total Tools, Home Hardware, Hardings, Foodland, and Superior Food Services, just to name a few, including Celebrations. Anyway, this company released their half-year results on December the 2nd, 2024, hence why the company is a stock of the day. Probably one of the only companies that's going to release their results this month, the quietest month of the year. That's going to be particularly true when we get towards the end of the month. Okay, and the other thing I should mention is the market has reacted, I suppose, positively to these results. Share price up between about 2 and 3%. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the results. And when I say quick, I mean quick. We'll have a look at the presentation. And I do like having a look at presentations because these are produced by marketing teams, and usually they produce pretty nice looking documents. And one of the things I like about these sort of documents is how they separate the results. Now, Metcash has 3 pillars. Those 3 pillars somewhere in here. Here it is, results overview by pillar. Not division, not section, pillar. Food, liquor, hardware. Now, this is the first slide that had me interested because I just want to see how these different pillars are performing. Probably the other thing I should mention first is if you do have a look at the results, which if I can find it here we go. So revenue up 6.3%, EBIT flat, profit down, underlying earnings per share down as well, total dividend 8.5 cents. So a nice growth in revenue, but with profit and EBIT or EBITDA either flat or down, would suggest there was a little bit of pressure on margins during the half year. So one of the reasons I really like going through the different divisions is we get a closer look at maybe which pillar or division is seeing some margin squeeze, or maybe all 3 are experiencing that. Now, pretty nice growth in food revenue. Now, some of this could be affected by inflation, but food up 10% revenue, by the way. Liquor up 2.1%, hardware up 2.5%. And then if you do look at the EBIT or the underlying EBIT, nice growth in food. Liquor and hardware, however, went backwards. Particularly hardware went from 110.6 million down to 93.9 million, even though revenue grew. So obviously there was a bit of a squeeze in the margins within the hardware pillar. Probably not food, maybe liquor as well. And then they go through the different pillars, talking about food. And in fact, in the food section here on page 10, they talk about EBIT margin actually increased from 2.1% to 2.3%. They also mentioned Superior Foods saw increased margin pressure in the second quarter. Strong trading performance underpinned by EBIT margin improvement. Yes, I do focus on margins a lot of the time because I want to see revenue growing through time. That's one of the things I really focus on. But then it's all about margins because I want to see at least margins not contracting. So at least I want to see margins going sideways, preferably going up, but there is a limit to how much margins can increase. So with a company like Metcash, you don't want to see margin contraction. You want to see pressure on margins. And thankfully for Metcash, in their biggest pillar, margins actually increased by a little bit. So EBIT margins up from 2.1% to 2.3%. In liquor, EBIT margins slipped a little bit from 2% down to 1.9%. But once we get to the hardware, in fact, let's just stay with liquor. Do they mention anything about margins? They just said EBIT margin declined 10 basis points, small declining in earnings, reduced strategic buying. So they do go through some of the reasons why EBIT did drop. But once we have a look at hardware, EBIT margins went from 6.2% down to 5.1%. And they're talking about weaker trade activity and retail margin pressure, intense price competition in professional tools market. So that could be one of the reasons why we did see an increase or decrease in EBIT margin is because of increased price competition, which would suggest this company doesn't have much pricing power, which makes sort of sense. Anyway, So that's probably all I want to talk about when it comes to the results. Here we go. Hardware total tools down, EBIT margins down from 14% to 11.6%. So this particular part of their hardware pillar saw a significant decrease in EBIT margins. Now, this could be just a one-off, or maybe this is a start of a negative trend in that regard. Now, the market liked it. Share price up 2.2%. And one of the reasons why the market liked it is because improving outlook, there was an improving outlook. In fact, this is from E&P's retail analyst, Philip Kimber. Outlook comments and recent trading show improvement in hardware and liquor. So even though margins were down in liquor, some of that improvement since the start of the second half means maybe things are going back to normal, particularly when it comes to margins in liquor. So that's one thing I did not show you is the outlook. So they did towards the end. Now I'm going to have to find it here. Outlook and trading update. So pillar sales, first 4 weeks of the second half. Group sales up 8%. Liquor sales up 4.4%. And hardware, IHG up 3.6%. And total tools, first 3 weeks up 2.6%. So looks like things are moving in the right direction for Met sales, and that is what this particular analysis was trying to tell us. Philip Kimber, outlook comments and recent trading show improvement in hardware and liquor from moderation in food. However, or overall, we expect minimal change in visible alpha consensus expectations. Given the weak share price over the past month, we expect Metcash share price to be supported following the financial year 25 results. And so far, they would be right. So finally, let's have a look at the chart for Metcash. Is this a buying opportunity? Is this a breakout? And I expect or suspect no. And that's absolutely true. In fact, looks like they must have released something pretty negative on the 22nd of October. Share price took a massive hit on that day. They must have released a trading update. 22nd of October. A trading update on the 25th and estimated earnings for the first half. There's also the potential that these results were a little bit better than their expected numbers that did release in October, maybe only slightly better. But that's why one of the reasons why the share price has taken a bit of a plunge, and share price is significantly down from where it was not that long ago. And if we have a look at the weekly chart, share price at $3 was about a 3-year low, and it was $3 not that long ago. So at this point in time, share price actually is in a bit of a downtrend, a longer-term downtrend, and maybe the bottom has been reached, and maybe these particular results will put a little bit of support under the share price. Okay, so that's all I have for the stock of the day, Metcash. Share price up a little bit on the release of their half-year results. If you have any questions, any thoughts, leave those in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I'm not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.